First off, congratulations. I don't think I've officially congratulated you yet as my Outdoor Adventures graduate assistant next year. So that's super exciting. Going into this conversation, I want to debrief your interview. So hopefully, through your experience, people on the internet have a little bit better of a time interviewing through what you did really well and where you could improve on. Bumps, plural. Who would win, some elevated dirt or Cecilia's bumper? First off, congratulations. I don't think I've officially congratulated you yet as my Outdoor Adventures graduate assistant next year. So that's super exciting. Going into this conversation, I want to debrief your interview. So hopefully, through your experience, people on the internet have a little bit better of a time interviewing through what you did really well and where you could improve on. How do you think you did in your interview?
I know I ramble. Okay. And I tend to not say things I truly mean, but say things that it's a nervous reaction just to kind of blurt out words.
Yeah.
I think I did okay.
Nice.
See, I'm bad at recalling things.
Yeah. Did you black out during it?
I did. Devin would ask me, how'd it go? I'm like, I don't know.
I remember 5 minutes before the interview and right now.
I remember now. I remember that one question, but other than that, it's all gone.
What would you improve for next time?
Be more confident. I always say that, but more confident in what I want and what my beliefs are, and not just fumble.
Yeah, because it's hard to, if you're not confident in yourself and the content that you're putting out there, it's really just selling yourself as an interview. And a lot of people have a hard time, yes, this is me. Yes, I'm really good at this. Yes, I've had this experience. So that's definitely a hard part of interviewing for sure.
Definitely trying to not fidget. Because when I fidget and I get distracted by my surroundings.
Which it's easier in Zoom, but we straight up set people up for failure in swivel chairs. If you're ever doing an interview in a swivel chair, you are just set up for failure. Because it's not only do you have to not fidget here in a normal chair, but in a swivel chair, you're fidgeting and rotating, and everyone hates that.
And spin, going backwards.
Yeah, so that's, while we're on the subject of body language, a lot of people think that they have to, I can't talk with my hands, I have to sit here in my box, and that's not true. As long as you're not, out here, you're good. So generally, in your box, you can talk with your hands and stuff like that to really deliver your point home.
Majority, I was trying to sit on my hands because they would have been fidgeting or with my I had a grip strength and handling my hands, and I was trying not to have it in the camera.
How many Zoom interviews have you done?
This is my first one.
First one? Nice. How different was the Zoom interview from a traditional interview? Did you struggle with that or did you like it?
I think I struggled more because I didn't know where to look. I wanted to be able to look people in the eye, but I can't look people in the eye because sometimes they're looking at their camera or themselves in camera. So when you're looking straight ahead, it looks like you're looking at yourself.
And it's interesting because I think before COVID, the whole thing was you want to be looking at them. So what you do is you look in your camera if you're doing a Zoom interview. But I think with COVID, it's become a lot more of a social construct. People are... They recognize that if you're looking at your screen, slightly down from your camera, you're looking at them and they're looking at you, but you're not actually looking at each other. You're looking at somebody else looking 5 inches down, which is super weird. But it's become a weird social norm thing with as much virtual stuff as we've done. The other one, personality. Because your interview technically started, so anytime you're an internal candidate, your interview starts when they know you. Despite, we do a very good job of interviewing internal candidates the same way that we would interview external candidates, and that process is very, efficient and, in my opinion, fair. But anytime you're an internal candidate, your interview starts the day that you start working there. So, your interview started when I got to know you in November when I hired you as a student staff. So a lot of that does get taken into account. And I wish you would have shown more of that personality in the interview. And I think you were just so nervous that it was very strict. We saw more of a conversation, that personality in the questions at the end, which was really good. but it was very like, here's the information, I'm giving it to you kind of exchange in the interview.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to express that personality when they're just spit-firing questions. As an interviewer, I actually have a funny column on the left-hand side of all of my questions. I mark down when a candidate makes me laugh during an interview. And the more marks you get, it's perceived, the more personality you have, basically. So I wish we would have seen a little bit more of that personality. Since we knew you, we knew what we were getting into. If I didn't know you, I would just assume that's how you are.
Yeah. That tends to happen when I'm like meeting new people, or like when I need to be professional, especially like talking to like professors. I'm like, this is me talking to you because I need to talk to you, not because I want to.
Nice. Challenge to you is figure out how to be personable and professional, because you are both of those a vast majority of the time, but when in like formal situations, I think you only get one.
Yeah.
And I think in that situation you defaulted to professional. So my challenge to you is to blend those two. How do you be both professional and personable? Yeah.
I can do that.
Nice. One last criticism. In general, there's like 3 different tiers, in my opinion, that interview answers can get to. The first tier is just a super short snippet. Customer service is satisfying the customer. When asked, what does customer service mean to you? And that's not a good answer, right? Level 1 is like the basic interview answer. You have given them a sentence of stuff. Level 2 is more along the lines of, this is what it means to me, and this is why, kind of level. And I think you were at level 2 for almost all of your answers, which is a lot better than level 1. My challenge, what I would have wanted to see more, is you get to level 3. And level 3 is, this is what it is, this is why, but here's an example, and here's the impact that example had.
Okay.
So what does customer service mean to you? Customer service, at the end of the day, is making sure that we can communicate to our customers and make sure that they're happy in all of the programs that we're doing. An example of that is when I talked to Nick and got him personally registered for Boulder League. It took more like 15 minutes instead of just emailing him a link, but I could see the impact that I had on that one person, and him being a part of that program led to so many good outcomes of social wellness and physical fitness and stuff like that. So level 1, customer service satisfying the customer. Level 2, customer service satisfying the customer with communication. Level 3, I helped out Nick. Here's the impact that it did, even though it took a lot more time. So level 3 is really what we're looking for, and you hit us with level 2 for the majority of it, but level 3 is really hard to get to. So answer the question, example, and then the impact of that example. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Nice. What else do you think you did really well with?
A few of the questions I feel like I answered well and confidently, and like what I actually like wanted to convey, and not just kind of fumbling upon my words.
And I think it's easier to do that, so I have an 80-20 rule. So if 80% of the questions you know are coming, it's so much easier to prepare for and not use the mental capacity that you should be using on the 20% when they throw you a curveball, like what animal do you want to be and why. That's a curveball question.
It is, yeah.
So if you spend 80% or 80% of the questions you already know are coming, like with campus recreation, you know there's going to be like a general leadership one, a diversity one, a communication one. So figuring out what industry you're going into and the standard questions, what they're going to ask, if you know 80% of them, you're golden for the other 20%.
I did not know what I was getting myself into. I've only had to interview for like my serving jobs.
And interviewing is a skill which not anyone practices, which is wild. Like you don't, a professional baseball player doesn't not practice baseball and then go into a game. It's the same thing. If you want to get better at baseball, you practice baseball. If you want to get better at playing cards, you practice playing cards. Interviewing is just another skill that you got to do. So the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. So you were incredibly professional throughout the entire thing. After the first round, you hand-delivered a written thank you note. And it was just very, like, appreciative kind of thing. So you did everything right when you applied for it. All the resume looked good, the cover letter looked good. I don't remember if there were references in there. I probably should have called references. I kind of forgot that part.
I don't think there was a prompt for references.
Yeah.
Because I had Dr. McKay and someone else lined up for a reference if it was needed, but I don't think I ever...
Yeah. I definitely didn't call references, which I should have done. Lauren, my supervisor, hopefully you're not watching this right now. The processes...
Wore a blazer in the second interview.
Wore a blazer in the second interview, so you're dressed professionally, which was good.
I would pants, shoes, even though not on camera.
Nice. I don't think you saw my interview attire, but your second interview, I was wearing my nice green sweater, and then I had my workout shoes and my green workout pants on. And in between interviews, I had to go to Walmart, and I didn't change out of my Zoom interview outfit. I was wearing green on slightly different shade of green.
Sweater.
With, sweater, gym workout bottom.
Oh my god.
Walked right into Walmart. So that was fun. What was your favorite question, if you can remember?
I liked the question about diversity.
I think it was something along the lines of, tell me about a time that you've had a positive experience with someone that has a different background from you.
Yes.
And then a situation that you struggled with and how you would do better next time. So that was a big question. That was like a three-part question.
Repeat it, please.
Yeah, a lot going on. So now that you brought up like multi-part question, everyone hates them when they're answering them, but interviewers love them because I can tell how organized you are mentally. Can you actually remember the second part and answer it? And secondly, if you do forget, are you just going to pretend that it doesn't exist? Or are you going to be like, hey, could you repeat that question? I think I forgot the second part. Or did I answer that full question? And you did a really good job with that.
Okay, thank you. Because I remember asking you to repeat that question. So I was like, oh, I need to know how to answer that second part.
Yeah. What was your least favorite question? A question you hated?
But any questions that are like, point out something that you need to like fix. Or I can answer them, they're just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like appropriate mistake to recall.
So appropriate mistake, because there are plenty of mistakes that everyone has made that aren't appropriate to talk about in an interview.
No.
So that's hard part number one. Hard part number two is how do you give them an honest answer, but make it seem like it's not a detriment to hiring you.
Yes.
And I think that's here's an honest, vulnerable answer of how I messed up one time. Or especially when we talk about weaknesses, because that's always a question. Here is truly one of my weaknesses, but then you got to spin it at the end. And I make up for it here, or I'm working on it here, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest way, is answer the question, example, and then spin it if it's negative. Yeah. The other part that I have feedback for you, never give me more negatives than I ask for. So I think I asked for one negative thing, and I think you gave me two. So never give me more than I ask for. I love that as an interviewer, but it doesn't sit well with the interviewee.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do remember that now.
And everyone does it. What questions do you have? Now that you've been through that process, we can talk a little bit more openly, so it's not unfair to other candidates at this point.
So I got that call like an hour after my interview, and I wasn't expecting it. And my phone sent Abigail's phone, her number to like spam. So I didn't realize it until like 5 minutes later.
Yeah, she said your phone was off.
Yeah, it was like it silenced her call because like when it doesn't recognize the phone number, it'll silence it and then like it'll send it to voicemail.
Yeah.
So luckily I like called her back right off of that. But I was like
panicking.
Yeah.
No, you're the last round 2 interview.
Nice.
And we didn't bring anybody. We didn't want to, because it's weird because this one it was just ongoing. So like we had probably 30 plus candidates apply initially when we started the process. And the first thing we always do is, okay, this person could be good, or okay, I'm never going to interview this person. Let's just throw their application out, basically. So then we take the pile that is okay, we might want to interview them, and then we narrow it down to like 6 to 10 of, okay, they could do the job. Because at that point, we're just looking to check boxes, which is what the resume and cover letter should be.
Yeah.
Because we have an evaluation form that's basically just check boxes. And okay, how much outdoor program experience does she have on her resume? Okay, I think she could do the job based on that check box being checked off. And there's a bunch of different check boxes. As long as you check off more than most people, you get an interview. So that's the hardest part, is just getting an interview.
Yeah.
Because if you can't talk to people, it's just you on paper. And interviewers, hiring managers, spend an average of 7 seconds looking at a resume, which is wild.
That is kind of crazy.
Yep. So how do you look that good on paper to even get a chance to talk to them? That's the hard part. So basically we interviewed the 6 to 10 people in round 1, but the hard part is people were still applying. So we had to determine, okay, this person just applied, which of these like 4 categories now do they fit into? So at a certain point we just had to cut it. So I think going into round 2, we just cut it. We didn't take any additional applicants because it was just going to be a continual process. If we get somebody, okay, do we hire this one person? It's going to take 3 days to schedule a Zoom interview. Okay, do we want to bring them into round 2? That's going to take another 3 days. So every person would have tacked on like a week to that. And I wanted to expedite that process. So we didn't take on any additional candidates after we started round 2, and you were the last round 2 interview. So we were making a decision there. Because we weren't going to deliberate over it too much.
Did you know any of the other candidates? I don't know if you're allowed to get into that.
Me personally, I knew Prenger. Prenger also applied. You, and I think that was it.
Really?
That I knew. Because like anytime you're doing GA stuff, every single person in the world applies. Anyone going to MSU grad school that wants a GA position, they go to the website and then they take a look at every single open GA position and they just put their resume and application in. Every single person. It's wild.
That is wild.
We get the same like generic responses of to whom this may concern or to the hiring manager. I'm applying for this position. I think I'm a good fit for this position, not Outdoor Adventures GA, but this position because of 3 generic qualities that I possess.
Yeah.
So it's really easy to tell who is applying for a lot of these and who wants the OA one specifically.
How did my cover letter and resume, or was it just my cover letter, and my CV kind of fare against the rest?
Honestly, I don't remember because that was weeks ago. And like at this point, obviously I wouldn't hire I wouldn't interview unqualified people, but anyone that works for me that is qualified is automatically going to get a round 1 interview. So I didn't honestly look at yours too hard. I can critique it in the future if you want me to.
Yes.
But I don't remember anything about it. Honestly, I might not have even looked at it.
It was so nice.
Yeah. But that is super important, especially when you're not an internal candidate. Like if I probably looked at it for about 7 seconds, which is what I would normally do for anyone else, which is why I don't remember it. Usually it's a good enough or not good enough category. Because it's like, okay, this is about what I expected. This is good enough. Or this is a garbage resume for a potential grad student. What are they doing?
Yeah.
Every once in a while you'll get like, this is a beautiful resume. Like this is a grad student. And it kind of falls into one of those 3 categories. As long as it doesn't fall into this category, you're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course. Any other questions?
I do not.
Okay. Nice job. Our respective soups. Yours is a little bit classier than mine. Like in an actual cup. Just a can.
In the baby spoon. Maybe I'll make homemade Oreos next time.
Ooh. Oreo balls are so good.
Yum.
Oreo balls don't have any business being as good as they are. I'm proud of you, I love you, and I'll see you next time.